Our next story this morning. Well, households across Australia will no doubt have hit the supermarkets to stock up on Anzac Day bickies. Your purchase does more than just taste delicious, with Coles donating 40 cents from every 12-pack of Coles Bakery biscuits, including Anzac biscuits, to the Bravery Trust through its annual fundraising appeal. With a 49% spike in demand from veterans facing financial hardship and more than 6,000 Australians transitioning out of the Defence Force each year, it is literally crunch time to support our veterans. We're joined right now by Bravery Trust Chief Executive Garth Callender. Garth, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Look, the Royal Commission to Defence and Veteran Suicide really put a spotlight on the difficulties veterans face after service. What sort of challenges are you hearing firsthand from veterans seeking support at the Bravery Trust?
Yeah. Look, I think fundamentally when you talk about that transition space, military people learn incredible things. Many of them, join straight out of school. They learn how to drive tanks. They learn how to fly attack helicopters, set avionics for F-18s. They don't focus a lot on their own personal finances. That can come to a crunch when they leave defence, and perhaps if they've had a negative experience in defence for whatever reason that might be, hard training, trauma from war zones, a range of different reasons, that can then impact on them. And we are seeing that spike, as you said, nearly 50% increase in the last 12 months, clients that we're seeing, going into financial hardship. So a range of different things, immediate financial issues around staying in their homes, putting petrol in their cars so they can get to medical appointments, and getting food on the table to feed their families, through to more deep-set issues around managing household debt.
Yeah. Look, what is causing that surge in your view at the moment? What's particular about this time in history to cause a surge in demand like that?
Look, I think it's a range of different things. We can look at current socioeconomics, but you can also have a different look at this in the fact that that the increase in financial support services, financial counselling, are getting better understood. So I'd like to think that perhaps our branding is getting better and financial counselling services are getting better known, so that is attracting those in need.
Would veterans be more likely to put their hand up now? I mean, it's an issue that's been in the spotlight recently. Has that helped them come forward and say, yep, I need help?
It absolutely has. I think veterans by nature are a really proud bunch. And we often see, in fact, the data we've collected tells us the majority that we see have waited 5 to 10 years on a downward financial trajectory, and it really comes to a crunch before they stick their hand up. So I would love to think that we're breaking down some of that stigma and people are sticking their hand up early.
And I've got to imagine that these are family people, men and women coming out of the service. So it's not just them, it's their entire family unit also involved.
Not at all. So we are seeing a range of demographics. What our data is telling us is that over 60% of those we see are under 50 years old. Again, about the same number have families that they are supporting. So it is, and again, a balance of men and female veterans.
What would you say to a veteran who might be struggling in silence right now, and what can you do for them? And not even just handing out cash, but how do you support them beyond that?
Yeah, so firstly, I'd say you are not alone. So jump on our website. We are well connected with the other ex-service organisations. So reach out, get in touch with us through our telephone, through our online website, braverytrust.com.au. To get hold of us. It's easy to Google. But what I would say as well is it's not as simple as just handing out cash. I mean, we provide immediate financial support. That is critical. So like I said, keeping people in their homes, keeping petrol in their car, keeping their children fed, that is essential. But what we're doing now is probably what I'd like to think a bit more sophisticated and long-term and really based around empowerment. So working with them from a financial education sense, so to build long-term financial sustainable habits. But also we work with them with our team of financial counsellors so we can advocate on behalf of that veteran and their family to lending institutions to minimise that debt, particularly unmanageable debt, so they can get back on their feet and back on an upward trajectory.
How does Anzac Day feed into all of this? Do they get support from mates and former comrades on a day like Anzac Day, or does it just dredge up memories that they perhaps just would rather forget?
Every veteran's different, and every veteran's view of Anzac Day would be different. I would love to think the vast majority of them, it's all about reconnecting with those former colleagues. And for those that are alone, I would urge them to reach out, to connect, because I'm a strong believer in that a vast majority of those who have served our country have left the Defence Force standing and smiling, but you can't forget about those who have had negative experience, and they're generally those that we see at Bravery Trust.
Look, this is a great idea. Coles donating 4 cents from every 12-pack of their bakery biscuits, including Anzac biscuits, and who doesn't like an Anzac biscuit? But what else can we do to show support for veterans and the work that your Bravery Trust does?
Can I just also, there's an incredible piece of history here which sometimes gets lost. We've worked with Coles since 2014, and with Coles and their customers, we've raised $6 million to support veterans. But the relationship between Coles and the veteran community goes back over 100 years.
Gee.
G.J. Coles himself was a veteran. He lost two brothers in the First World War. And he built this iconic Australian brand, and the Coles family did so much supporting veterans, particularly during the Second World War, and we're delighted to have this relationship with them now, working iconic Australian brand, Bravery Trust, supporting veterans in financial hardship going forward.
Yeah, so how do we contribute to that, apart from a big corporate like Coles?
So I'd encourage people, like you said, to go out and buy those Coles brand biscuits, the 12 packs. Particularly have an Anzac Day morning tea with your work or your family. Every pack of 40 cents goes to Bravery Trust. You can also donate at the register. So that's all really important for us to be able to continue the work we're doing.
Garth, great job you're doing out there. Thank you so much for coming on and letting us know more about it. And I hope that everyone gets out there and buys their Coles Anzac Bickies. I absolutely love them, and you're doing a good deed at the same time. Garth, thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you to you and your listeners.